Good morning, everybody. The Evident Proof demo is due to start in just a few minutes. I'll put you back on mute and the demo will start in about 2 minutes' time. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Evident Proof demo. My name is Matt Roden. I'm the CTO of Evident. We run these demos twice weekly. The idea of the demo is to give you a brief intro into what Evident Proof is, what the platform does, and how you can use it within your organization or as an individual. Evident Proof is a platform that stores a mutable proof of data. So what does that mean? Well, transactional data, event data, ID data, and so on can be stored on our platform in an immutable, unhackable, unchangeable way. We do this using the power of blockchain technology. We have a private blockchain and we use a public blockchain called Ethereum. And we use the mainnet to provide a distributed, immutable version of your data in what we call a proof seal. This means that you can prove in a court of law, in a litigation scenario, to a third party and so on, that the data that you stored with us was stored at that time in that way, and that the data matches precisely what you said it should be. And our service is a programmatic service, meaning that you submit data to our platform via a web service. And today we're just going to give you a brief overview of what that looks like, and we'll show you a sample application. So this is the dashboard, a little bit of terminology. So proof seal is your data sealed into a hash, which is then distributed on public and private blockchains. And then API keys. So the way to store data on the platform, as we said, is via our web service. To get started storing data on the platform, you simply log on to Evident Proof, generate yourself an API key, take a look at the API docs. It's super simple, and we can help you with this process. And you can start sending data to the platform straight away. So we have real clients using the platform, and one of those clients is the largest supplier of taxi licensing solutions to UK local government. Why would a provider of taxi licensing solutions need to prove the immutability of their data? Well, their particular solution deals with the governance and the checks and balances around the issuing of a taxi license and the renewing of a taxi license. And it was only this year that an article came out in The Guardian that said 150,000 taxi licenses were issued in the UK last year to drivers with drink driving bans, criminal convictions, you name it, they had it. And so that then leaves the onus on the provider of the solution and the local government to prove that checks and balances were done in the correct way, and show the audit trail. Now, traditional databases are not secure and can be changed and hacked and tampered with. Using the Evident Proof service alongside your traditional line of business systems and databases, you have an immutable record of the data that went into your database, and you can prove, as we said, to a third party or a court of law that the data was indeed not tampered with, and we can therefore prove immutability. So we're now going to have a look at a stripped down version of what their software does. We can't obviously show you their full line of business suite, but we can show you the principal workflow involved, and show you data hitting the Evident Proof platform and follow that data through the process. So here we have our representation of this taxi licensing solution, as I said, in a very stripped down way, just to demonstrate the functionality. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go in and create a new taxi license, and we're going to put in a name, and let's try and find one that I haven't done before. Smith, that'll do. And we're going to say that the license is going to be active and that we've done a criminal record check. So here is the ticked box. Of course, criminal record checks have evidence. So a document from the local police or some API call to a criminal record check service, whatever it is, it can be stored as evidence against this record. So a driving license number, again, in their solution, this includes a scan of the driving license and any checks and balances around validating that driving license, and then an identity check. So again, this would be evidenced, and we're going to say they have no driving offences, and we're going to create this taxi license. So this creates this taxi license in our line of business system. What we were interested in is the data that is being sent in the background to the evidence service, and we'll be able to see that this data is created in the taxi licensing solution. But more importantly, if we go into the evident proof dashboard, we'll now be able to see that this data was submitted programmatically to evident proof, and here is that data. And we can go in and have a look at this data, see how it's stored, and get an understanding of how evident proof works. So API calls, so web service calls to the platform, are called dispatches. So we have some metadata around the dispatch, an ID, a where, which can be geolocation or IP address, or whatever where means to your business, when, which is always a timestamp. And then we have evidence. What is evidence? Well, evidence is your data submitted to the platform in a format that we call evidence. And it is this evidence that we can then prove the immutability of for you later. So a few fields here that probably need explaining. All of this is in our white paper. Do feel free to go and have a read. So primary service user cross-reference. So this is a key that is meaningful to link back to your data. So either a single key, foreign key, compound key, it could be a serial number, whatever's meaningful within your organization. And evident proof consults with you to help you understand what evidence and what proof means to you and your organization. A key here, we have new license. So this key value format will mean something to those in the software development community. Value, you can see here we have a JSON representation of the data from our line of business workflow. Now this can be a single field, it can be a JSON representation of a collection of fields like this, or it can be the works of Shakespeare. We really don't care. What we care about is that all of this data that you've sent to us becomes a proof seal. Now, this proof seal holds the fact that the timestamp is this, and the location is this, and all of this data. And the idea here is that this seal is what gets stored on the blockchain. The seal itself is immutable, and thus the data that you sent to us in the form of evidence is also immutable in being able to prove later. So then let's look at a receipt. So a receipt is sent back on as a from the API call where this data is sent to evident proof. So you can see that the receipt is submitted, and we give you a receipt ID, which is very important. You can store this against your source data if you so wish, to say, here is my receipt to confirm that this record, this row, this asset, this event was stored on the evident proof platform, and thus this is a record to say this has been stored in an immutable way. So then the next stage of the workflow, once we've stored this data, is needing to prove this data. So you won't need to prove all of your data necessarily, but let's say we get into a litigation scenario as an organization, or prove to a court or a third party or a visitor, indeed, that our data matches and is immutable to what we say it should be. So this one, we need a proof certificate. What is a certificate? Well, it's your record and your proof of the immutable storage of your data. So we're going to go look at a proof certificate now. So we've generated a new proof certificate. When we generate a proof certificate, this platform goes off to the private and public blockchain, and essentially what it's doing is matching up this data to the proof seal, and then giving you some evidence you can use to verify this later, or verify to a third party. So let's look at the certificate. So you can see our certificate contains all of our original data, but it also contains some verification that our evidence was stored in that way and matches. And here we have a transaction ID, which shows this transaction on the public blockchain. There are other mechanisms that can be used as well, and more data that can be put on a proof certificate. And we consult with you as an organization to understand what proof means to you, and then we tailor this into a report that you can download and print and provide to third parties. Any questions, do feel free to reach out on Telegram. We have another demo on Thursday at 4 p.m. London time. Thank you all for watching.